It's all right, I have a key. Oh, Lord have mercy. What a mess. And heavens above, what is that stench? Oh, when is this man going to realise that rubbish does not take itself out and papers do not organise themselves? Oh, where do I begin? Papers or rubbish? Well, logic would suggest rubbish, but curiosity demands papers. Let's see. Bills, pay slips, contracts. Oh, here we are, letters. Letters from actors asking for work. Letters from merchants demanding payment. Oh, this is it. Notice of meeting. Oh my God, it's worse than I suspected. Oh my God, please let it not be him. Who is it?
Bruno.
Who? I don't know any Bruno. Go away.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? It's me, Bruno. Do you remember me, Mr. William?
Mr. William, William is not here.
You will remember me when you see me, Mr. William.
I will not tell you again. Mr. Shakespeare is not here.
Who are you?
I'm his wife.
Is he all right?
Oh, he's in bed, sleeping off his customary hangover. What do you want?
I want to audition.
And what's in those brown bags?
Well, this one contains my speeches and this one my props. Will Mr. William be here tomorrow?
This letter is anything to go by. None of us, including this theatre, will be here tomorrow. Here, let me read it to you. Addressed to Mr. William Shakespeare, Manager, Globe Theatre, London. It has come to our attention that your theatre has been steadily losing patrons for many months. It has been reported that your patrons are more interested in throwing rotten fruit at the actors than listening to their words. This is of great concern to us, but not as concerning as the rent, which has not been forthcoming for nearly a year. You are hereby requested to attend a meeting with the council wherein the future of the Globe Theatre will be decided.
Does your husband know this?
Well, the letter was lying open on his desk, so he must have read it. That's the reason, perhaps, why he's still in bed. The man has a tendency to try to drown reality with drink. The council is right. The Globe is a theatre without an audience. So go home, Bruno. There is nothing for you here.
You need new content.
Huh? You think he doesn't know that? You think I haven't told him that 100 times? Put real women on the stage, I say, not these squeaky-voiced boys identifying as women. Some real tit and bum. That's what this theatre needs. Women who play women. Women like me.
Are you an actor?
In my dreams.
Mrs. Shakespeare, what do you see before you?
I see a little brown man carrying 2 brown bags.
Nothing else?
Enlighten me.
I have inside me and in these 2 bags the solution to all your problems. 1 year ago today, I auditioned for the company. But Mr. William, he tells me they only do English plays about English kings. And nobody wants to see a brown man play an English king. I tell him, I'm a Western Oriental gentleman. He says, doesn't matter. If I want to be an actor, I have to bring my own characters. I say to him, promise? And he says, yes.
And you believed him?
Why not? He's a good man, no?
Well, when he's sober. Look, Bruno, just go home. Only a miracle will save us now.
Mrs. Shakespeare, what do you see before you?
I see what I saw before. A little brown man with 2 brown bags.
Your miracle. You see your miracle. When I finished my audition, I was very depressed and went to an inn-house to get very drunk. There, I met a writer. I cannot tell you his name, it is a secret. He tells me, if I can find the stories, he will write the speeches. So I joined Her Majesty's Navy.
For heaven's sake.
To see the world, Mrs. Shakespeare. Britannia rules the waves, Mrs. Shakespeare.
Oh, call me Anne.
Britannia rules the waves, Mrs. Anne. I speak to scholars and innkeepers and beggars and anybody with a story to tell. And in this bag, I have speeches of 100 international characters written by England's greatest writer. All you can desire, from heartrending tragedies to side-splitting comedies.
Who is this writer? Is he brown like you?
Oh, no, he's not brown like me, but his name is a secret. I made a promise I will never say his name. Will Mr. William be here tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow will be too late. All right, Western Oriental gentlemen, you'd better give me a taste of what you've got. Come in then, don't take too long though, I'm only supposed to be here doing the cleaning.
In Venice, a city by the sea in Italy, there lived a merchant, a kind man, a generous man with a big heart, always ready to help a friend in need. All who knew him loved and respected him. His name is Antonio. Also in the city lived his exact opposite, a cruel moneylender, an opportunist that loved money above all else, a Jew. His name is Shylock. Now, Antonio had a young friend desperate to impress his lady love with a gift he could not afford. So he asks Antonio for a loan. Antonio cannot help him at the moment, but he has a fleet of ships on the way, which when they land, will enable him to loan as much as he needed. But his young friend cannot wait. So Antonio proposed they ask the Jew for a loan. The Jew obliges on one condition, that if the loan is not repaid on time, he will have a pound of Antonio's flesh closest to his heart as payment. Antonio laughingly agrees. The ships are lost at sea. Antonio cannot pay, and the Jew demands his pound of flesh. What do you think?
I think taking a pound of flesh closest to the heart will kill the merchant.
Exactly.
But why does the Jew hate the merchant so? Why will he take his flesh?
Why will I take his flesh? To bait fish withal. If it will feed nothing else, it will feed my revenge. He hath disgraced me and hindered me 500,000, laughed at my losses, mocked at my gains, scorned my nation, thwarted my bargains, cooled my friends, heated mine enemies. And what's his reason? I am a Jew. Hath not a Jew eyes? Hath not a Jew hands, organs, dimensions, senses, affections, passions? Fed with the same food, hurt with the same weapons, subject to the same diseases, healed by the same means, warmed and cooled by the same winter and summer as a Christian is? If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? And if you wrong us, shall we not revenge? If we are like you in the rest, we will resemble you in that. If a Jew wrong a Christian, what is his humility? Revenge. If a Christian wrong a Jew, what should his sufferance be by Christian example? Why, revenge. The villainy you teach me, I will execute, and it shall go hard, but I will better the instruction. So, the answer to your question is revenge.
And does the Jew get his pound of flesh?
The matter goes to court, and Antonia's friend, who is also a clever lawyer, begs for mercy.
Why does it have to be Antonia's friend that argues the case? Why can it not be the lady herself?
Only a man can argue in court.
Well, why cannot she dress up as a man?
Because then it'll be a man identifying as a man.
But she's supposed to be a woman.
Anyway, this is how she argues the case.
Oh, give it to me. The quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes. 'Tis mightiest in the mightiest. It becomes the throned monarch better than his crown. His scepter shows the force of temporal power, the attribute of awe and majesty, wherein doth sit the dread of fear and fear of kings. But mercy is above this sceptred sway. It is enthroned in the hearts of kings. It is an attribute of God himself, and earthly power doth then show like as gods. When mercy seasons justice, therefore, Jew, though justice be thy plea, consider this, that in the course of justice none of us should see salvation. We do pray for mercy, and that same prayer doth teach us all to render the deeds of mercy. I have spoke thus much to mitigate the justice of thy plea, which, if thou do follow this strict court of Venice, must needs give sentence gainst the merchant there. I identify with this woman. So what happens? Does the Jew get his pound of flesh?
Yes, but if one drop of blood is spilled in taking it, the Jew will be hanged for murder. The Jew gives up his claim and is banished forever. What do you think?
Bad. What else have you got? But what was this writer's name? Was it Edward de Vere?
Who?
That sounds like a no. Have you got any real stories about real women?
In Venice, Italy, there lived a most beautiful woman, the daughter of an important senator, but not just beautiful, also accomplished in learning and with a great desire for knowledge of the outside world. Her name is Desdemona. She falls in love with a mercenary general hired to defend the city from impending war. His name is Othello, and he is black. No one can understand how the most beautiful woman in the city fell in love with a black man. He's forced to explain. Imagine a courtroom full of important white senators, and in the middle, one black man. Most potent, grave, and reverend signors, my very noble and approved good masters, that I have taken away this old man's daughter is most true. True, I have married her. The very head and front of my offending hath this extent, no more. Rude am I in my speech, and little blessed with the soft phrase of peace. For since these arms of mine had 7 years' pith, till now some 9 moons wasted, they have used their dearest action in the tented field. And little of this great world can I speak, more than pertains to feats of broil and battle. And therefore little shall I grace my cause in speaking for myself. Yet, by your gracious patience, I will a round unvarnished tale deliver of my whole course of love, what drugs, what charms, what conjuration, and what mighty magic. For such proceeding I am charged withal. I won his daughter.
A black soldier? I wouldn't mind one myself. But how was a soldier allowed to capture a senator's daughter?
Well, Othello explains that it was really her father that started it all.
Mm-hmm.
Her father loved me, oft invited me, still questioned me the story of my life. From year to year, the battles, sieges, fortunes that I have passed. I ran it through even from my boyish days to the very moment that he bade me tell it, wherein I spake of most disastrous chances, of moving accidents by flood and field, of hairbreadth escapes in the imminent deadly breach, of being taken by the insolent foe and sold to slavery, of my redemption thence, importance in my travels history, wherein of antres vast and deserts idle, rough quarries, rocks and hills whose heads touch heaven. It was my hint to speak, such was the process. And of the cannibals that each other eat, the anthropophagi, and men whose heads do grow beneath their shoulders. This to hear would Desdemona seriously incline. But still the house affairs would draw her thence, whichever as she could with haste dispatch, she'd come again, and with a greedy ear devour up my discourse. Which I observing, took one suppliant hour, and found good means to draw from her a prayer of earnest heart, that I would all my pilgrimage dilate, whereof by parcel she had something heard, but not intentively. I did consent, and often did beguile her of her tears, when I did speak of some distressful stroke that my youth suffered. My story being done, she gave me for my pains a world of sighs. She swore in faith 'twas strange, 'twas passing strange, 'twas pitiful, 'twas wondrous pitiful. She wished she had not heard it. Yet she wished that heaven had made her such a man. She thanked me and bade me, if I had a friend that loved her, I should but teach him how to tell my story, and that would woo her. Upon this hint I spake. She loved me for the dangers I had passed, and I loved her that she did pity them. This is the only witchcraft that I have used. The father objects, but they are married and the war is won. The future is bright and rosy.
You're romantic. I love stories with a happy ending.
Ah, but there is a serpent in the garden. Othello's second in command, His name is Iago.
Mm.
On the surface, he's servile and loving, but inside, he's filled with jealousy and hate. He's also very cold and very clever. He tricks Othello into thinking Desdemona is unfaithful. And Othello's jealousy is so great, he murders his wife in her bed.
He murders his beautiful wife. It's a tragedy.
Well, she has been unfaithful.
Well, that's no reason to kill somebody.
Well, unfortunately, he does.
What a fool.
Too late does he realize he has been tricked. Anyway, he's arrested and is about to be taken to jail.
Jail? Oh no, he should be executed.
But listen, before they take him away, he says this. Soft you, a word or two before you go. I have done the state some service, and they know it, no more of that. I pray you, in your letters, when you shall these unlucky deeds relate, speak of me as I am, nothing extenuate, nor set down aught in malice. Then must you speak of one that loved, not wisely, but too well, of one not easily jealous, but being wrought perplexed in the extreme, of one whose hand, like the base Indian, threw a pearl away, richer than all his tribe, of one whose subdued eyes, albeit unused to the melting mood, drop tears as fast as the Arabian trees the medicinal gum. Set you down this, and say besides that in Aleppo once, where a malignant and turbaned Turk beat a Venetian and traduced the state, I took by the throat the circumcised dog and smote him thus.
He kills himself. Not just a fool, but a coward also. But what happens to Iago?
He's also killed.
Oh no, he must live.
Ah, but he's pure evil.
Exactly. I think I know who your mystery writer is. It's Sir Francis Bacon, isn't it?
Please, Mrs. Anne, do not ask, for I am sworn not to tell.
Why does he want his identity kept a secret? The speeches are very good.
He has his reasons, and let me tell you, they are very good reasons.
What else have you got?
I have stories from all over the world. Scotland, Italy, Middle East, Lebanon, Denmark, Egypt, Yugoslavia, Turkey, Spain, Greece, France, Austria. I have a wonderful tragedy from Rome. Do I have time?
All you need.
A scholar in Rome told me of the Roman Empire that covered most of the known world 1,500 years ago. It is recorded history. The empire was ruled by one man and one man alone. His name was Julius Caesar. He was a great soldier and had fought many battles, but he felt he was above the law and could do as he pleased. He ruled with an iron fist, and the people put up with it because he promised to keep them safe. But 4 senators believed it wrong that one man should have all the power, so they planned to assassinate him. If they are to succeed, they know they must be joined by another, a senator called Brutus, a dear friend of Caesar. Cassius, the ringleader, sets out to convince him. I know that virtue to be in you, Brutus, as well as I do know your outward favor. Well, honor is the subject of my story. I cannot tell what you and other men think of this life, but for my single self, I had as lief not be, as lief to be in awe of such a thing as I myself. I was born free as Caesar, so were you. We have both fed as well, and we can both endure the winter's cold as well as he. For once, on a raw and gusty day, the troubled Tiber chafing with her shores, Caesar said to me, "Darest thou, Cassius, now leap in with me into this yon angry flood and swim to yonder point?" Upon the word, accoutred as I was, I plunged in and bade him follow. So indeed he did. The torrent rode, and we did buffet it with lusty sinews, throwing it aside and stemming it with arts of controversy. But ere we could arrive the point proposed, Caesar cried, "Help me, Cassius, or I sink." I, as Aeneas, our great ancestor, did from the flames of Troy upon his shoulder the old Anchises bear, so from the waves of Tiber did I the tired Caesar. And this man is now become a god, and Cassius is a wretched creature and must bend his body if Caesar carelessly but nodded. He had a fever when he was in Spain. And when the fit was on him, I did mark how he did shake. 'Tis true, this god did shake. His coward lips did from their colour fly. Ah, in that same eye, whose bend doth o'er the world, did lose his lustre. I did hear him groan, aye, and that tongue of his, that bade the Romans mark him, and write his speeches in their books. Alas, it cried, "Give me some drink, Titinius," as a sick girl. Ye gods, it doth amaze me. A man of such a feeble temper should so get the start of the majestic world and bear the palm alone. Why, man, he doth bestride the narrow world like a colossus, and we petty men walk under his huge legs and peep about to find ourselves dishonorable graves. Men at some time are masters of their fates. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves, that we are underlings.
Does he join them?
Ah, of course. And they stab Caesar to death in a public square. But the people are very angry, and Brutus has to explain to them why he killed his best friend.
I should think so.
Romans, countrymen, and lovers, hear me for my cause and be silent that you may hear. If there be any in this assembly, any dear friend of Caesar's, to him I say that Brutus's love to Caesar was no less than his. If then that friend demand why Brutus rose against Caesar, this is my answer. Not that I love Caesar less, but that I loved Rome more. Had you rather Caesar were living and die all slaves, than that Caesar were dead to live all free men? As Caesar loved me, I weep for him. As he was fortunate, I rejoice at it. As he was valiant, I honor him. But as he was ambitious, I slew him. There is tears for his love, joy for his fortune, honor for his valor, and death for his ambition. Who is here so base that would be a bondman? If any speak, for him I have offended. Who is here so rude that would not be a Roman? If any speak, for him I have offended. Who is here so vile that will not love his country? If any speak, for him I have offended. I pause for a reply. With this I depart, but as I slew my best lover for the good of Rome, I have the same dagger for myself, when it shall please my country to need my death.
Whew. Smooth words. And the people agree? They don't mind that their leader was murdered?
Yes, because Brutus is an honorable man, and he's much respected, not to mention he was also Caesar's dear friend. They quieten down and prepare to depart, when somebody else asks to address the crowd. Reluctantly, he is given leave to speak. He is Mark Antony, a soldier, Caesar's general and true friend.
Are all these people brown?
Oh, they are Italian, so maybe brownish. Imagine he's in the public square. Everybody about to go home. Nobody wants to listen. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is oft interred with their bones. So let it be with Caesar. The noble Brutus hath told you Caesar was ambitious. If it was so, it was a grievous fault. And grievously hath Caesar answered it. Here, under leave of Brutus and the rest, for Brutus is an honorable man, so are they all honorable men, come I to speak in Caesar's funeral.
Come on, let me have a go.
This is for a man.
So? He was my friend, faithful and just to me, but Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honourable man. He hath brought many captives home to Rome, whose ransoms did the general coffers fill. Did this in Caesar seem ambitious? When that the poor have cried, see that Caesar hath wept. Ambition should be made of sterner stuff, yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honourable man. You all did see that on the Lupercal. I thrice presented him a kingly crown, which he did thrice refuse. Was this ambition? Yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and sure, he is an honourable man. I speak not to disprove what Brutus spoke, but I am here to speak what I do know. You all did love him once, and not without cause. What cause withholds you then to mourn for him? Oh, judgment, thou art fled to brutish beasts, and men have lost their reason. Bear with me. My heart is in the coffin there with Caesar, and I must pause till it come back to me.
Come on, give it back. This is my audition. But yesterday the word of Caesar might have stood against the world. Now lies he there, and none so poor to do him reverence. O masters, if I were disposed to stir your hearts and minds to mutiny and rage, I should do Brutus wrong and Cassius wrong, who you all know are honorable men. I will not do them wrong. I rather choose to wrong the dead, to wrong myself and you, than I will wrong such honorable men.
What are you doing?
Last, don't tell me I forgot it. Oh, here it is. But here's a parchment with the seal of Caesar. I found it in his closet. 'Tis his will. Let but the commons hear this testament, which, pardon me, I do not mean to read, and they would go and kiss dead Caesar's wounds, and dip their napkins in his sacred blood, yea, beg a hair of him for memory, and dying mention it within their wills, bequeathing it as a rich legacy unto their issue.
Just read the bloody thing.
Have patience, gentle friends. I must not read it. It is not meet to know how Caesar loved you. You are not wood, you are not stones, but men. And being men, hearing the will of Caesar, it will inflame you. It will make you mad. 'Tis good you know not that you are his heirs. For if you should, what would come of it?
Go on, read it.
Will you be patient? Will you stay a while? I have overshot myself to tell you of it. I fear I wrong the honorable men whose daggers have stabbed Caesar. I do fear it. You will compel me then to read the will.
Yes.
Then make a ring around the corpse of Caesar and let me show you him that made the will. Shall I descend? And will you give me leave? If you have tears, prepare to shed them now.
What are you doing now?
Here it is. Imagine this cloak to be what Caesar wore when they assassinated him. Imagine it is soaked in blood with the holes where the knives entered his body. You all do know this mantle. I remember the first time ever Caesar put it on. It was a summer's evening in his tent that day he overcame the Nervi. Look, in this place ran Cassius's dagger through. See what a rent the envious Casca made. Through this the well-beloved Brutus stabbed. And as he plucked his cursed steel away, mark how the blood of Caesar followed it, as rushing out of doors to be resolved if Brutus so unkindly knocked or no. For Brutus, as you know, was Caesar's angel. Judge, O you gods, how dearly Caesar loved him. This was the most unkindest cut of all. For when the noble Caesar saw him stab, ingratitude, more strong than traitor's arms, quite vanquished him. Then burst his mighty heart, and in his mantle muffling up his face, even at the base of Pompey's stature, which all the while ran blood, great Caesar fell. Oh, what a fall was there, my countrymen. Then I and you and all of us fell down, whilst bloody treason flourished over us. Oh, now you weep. I perceive you feel the dint of pity. These are gracious drops. Kind souls, what weep you when you but behold our Caesar's vesture wounded? Look you here is himself, marred as you see with traitors. He shows them Caesar's mutilated dead body. Good friends, sweet friends, let me not stir you up to such a sudden flood of mutiny. They that have done this deed are honorable. What private griefs they have, alas, I know not, that made them do it. They are wise and honorable, and will no doubt with reasons answer you. I come not, friends, to steal away your hearts. I am no orator as Brutus is, but as you know me all, a plain, blunt man that loved my friend, and that they know full well that gave me public leave to speak of him. For I have neither wit, nor words, nor worth, action, nor utterance, nor the power of speech to stir men's blood. I only speak right on. I tell you that which you yourselves do know. Show you sweet Caesar's wounds, poor dumb mouths, and bid them speak for me. But were I Brutus, and Brutus Antony, there were an Antony would ruffle up your spirits and put a tongue in every wound of Caesar that should move the stones of Rome to rise in mutiny.
What happens then?
War, glorious war, violence and death. The empire is split into three and begins its decline. The audience will love it, don't you think?
Yes, and I think I know who it is. It's Marlowe, isn't it? It's that bloody Christopher Marlowe. I can tell he loves his violence. But men, your stories are all about men. What about the women? Don't you have any stories about great women?
There's Cleopatra.
Oh, the Queen of Egypt?
She who was wooed by the world's most powerful men. She who ruled a prospering multicultural country. She who took her own life rather than suffer humiliation. This is a Roman soldier describing what he saw for the first time. A beautiful country of endless variety, and a woman whose beauty simply took his breath away.
Let me read it.
No, this is for a man, a rough soldier, a strong man that has fought many wars.
Well, if men can play women, why cannot a woman play a man?
Touché.
I will tell you, the barge she sat in, like a burnished throne burned on the water, the poop was beaten gold. Purple the sails, and so perfumed that the winds were lovesick with them. The oars were silver, which to the tune of flutes kept stroke, and made the water which they beat to follow faster, as amorous of their strokes. For her own person, it beggared all description. She did lie in her pavilion, cloth of gold, of tissue, ever picturing that Venus, where we see the fancy outwork nature. On each side of her stood pretty dimpled boys, like smiling cupids, with diverse coloured fans, whose wind did seem to glow the delicate cheeks which they did cool, and what they undid did. Her gentlewomen, like the Nereides, so many mermaids tended her in the eyes and made the bends of dawning at the helm. A seeming mermaid steers the silken tackle, swelled with the touches of those flower-soft hands that yearly frame the office. From the barge, a strange invisible perfume hits the sense of the adjacent wharves. The city cast her people out upon her, and Antony, enthroned in the marketplace, did sit alone, whistling to the air, which, but for vacancy, had gone to gaze on Cleopatra too, and made a gap in nature.
Bravo, Mrs. Anne. Then there's an ambitious lady from Scotland, which you will love, and fairies that are neither man nor woman.
Oh, fairies that are neither man nor woman. Oh, yes, I can see Burbage and Kempt loving that. All right, Bruno, you have me convinced. But in the end, it is not me that you have to convince. When we meet with the council, you must show them what you have shown me. Ha! Tomorrow's globe will truly live up to its name.
Oh, no, Mrs. Anne, not I, but we. We must show them together. What do you think?
I think it's a deal, Bruno.
What about Mr. William? Shouldn't he also be told?
Oh, he'll be told, don't you worry. And when he is told, he will do as he is told.
What if he does not agree?
Oh, it's definitely Marlowe, isn't it? It's Marlowe. And I think I know why he wants to keep his name a secret. Is it?
But Mrs. Anne, we need to convince Mr. William. What if he does not agree?
Don't you worry about that, Bruno. Anne Hathaway. Now get you gone. I need to take out the trash.
Till tomorrow, then.
Till tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, my good Western Oriental gentlemen.